Okay. Hi, my name is Camilla. I'm a 29-year-old transgender woman. I'm making my first video for YouTube, and this is just some advice and things that I've experienced in my transition. First, I'd like to start out with when I started HRT, hormone replacement therapy, 7 years ago. Today is my anniversary. Hooray. The Today has been a very big day for me emotionally. Looking back, I reflected a lot on my entire transition and things that happened during the course of my transition. But what I'm going to talk about is some things like hormones and your voice and surgeries and facial hair removal, all of those things that transgender women transitioning after puberty have to deal with. At first, most trans people want it all. They want to look the part immediately, and they think as soon as they start taking hormones, they're immediately being accepted in society as the gender that they choose. Now, there are some outliers that pass naturally, but for most trans people, it is different. I remember when I first started transitioning, I couldn't get a job for about 2 years until the hormones had affected me and I had cosmetic procedures to feminize my face. But for me, I found out that society looked down at me for a little while, and I had to be very patient and accepting. It was important at that time to have a strong support network, and it's important to have transgender women and transgender people in your support network your first couple of years. That's my suggestion. You don't have to have it, but that's what I did because that's how I've gotten 7 years of transitioning and life fulfillment that I wouldn't have had I not transitioned. I knew I was transgender around the age of 7. That's when I realized it, but I didn't start transitioning until I was 22. So today is 27 years. Not 27, I wish. Today is 7 years of transitioning. I advise people that are new to transition to know they have to be patient. And another thing you're going to deal with in your transition, and maybe not immediately, is loss of people you love. That's a hard one, and especially if you have children or you're married. I'm glad I transitioned young because I didn't have to go through messy divorces and child custody. I know a lot of trans women that go through those things, and it's awful. First off, you start your transition, you get prescribed HRT, hormone replacement therapy. You take that for about 12 months to 24 months, and you notice breast growth, fat redistribution, and during that time, the first 2 years of my transition, I was having laser hair removal every 6 weeks. And I had that for about 2 years until all my facial hair was removed. Now I go over my face with a razor maybe once every few days. No shaving cream dry. It's just, little superfluous hairs. But, I'm glad I invested in laser hair removal. And people who have gray hair actually have to get electrolysis. And I'm glad I didn't go through that process because that's a pore to pore, hair follicle to hair follicle procedure. From what I've heard, I don't know much about it, to be honest. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that I lost a lot of family members to my transition. I was so close with one cousin. I love her to death to this day, but she won't even respond to a text message. And I took her cousin away that she looked up to, her boy cousin. My dead name is Aaron, and my name now legally is Camilla. So I took Aaron away from her, and she hasn't accepted Camilla yet. I hope she does. Another thing you go through besides loss, you have to change your name. You have to change your gender marker on your license. And that varies on a state-to-state basis what procedures you go through. But it's really important about 2 years, 3 years into your transition that you change your name legally. It will make your life so much easier. It will make traveling easier. It will make work easier, finding work, procuring it, and being accepted. Will your family call you by your new name? Maybe not. My parents still dead name me every day. I live with them currently while I'm in school. But I will say that it is definitely worth it. It's very difficult, and you have to be persistent, proactive, and patient. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is your voice. I've probably changed my voice a few times during the duration of this 6-minute video. And I will say that my voice changes as much as I want to change it, and consistency is the hardest thing with changing your voice. Sometimes you accidentally slip down to here, and then I start talking in this tone. But I'd really rather be up here. I'm still working on it, and I'm 7 years into my transition. So keep practicing. And the last thing I want to mention, I guess, that I didn't think about, but I highly recommend gender therapy for 6 months to a year before you start hormones. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not legally certified to make any assertions about what one should do. But from my experience, I had to go through gender therapy before I transitioned, even though I knew I was a girl since I was a 7-year-old boy. Transitioning is hard. You'll be ridiculed at times. People will laugh at you. But it's all part of a growing process that becomes something really grand. I'm not wearing any makeup right now. I could present much prettier, but I figured I'd show myself naturally who I am to the world, and hope that this helps you in your transition. I look forward to making future videos, and I hope you enjoyed your time in watching me. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.